Seoul, August 4, 2025. One of the members of the boy group ASTRO, Eunwoo, again became a hot topic of conversation after a Korean netizen, K-Netz, shared an interesting story about the idol's activities during his military service and an online community post. A user shared the story of her boyfriend, who is currently undergoing military training in the same division as Eunwoo. The post mentioned that Eunwoo attended church services last Sunday. "My boyfriend started training early and today he told me about Nunu, Eunwoo's nickname. He said Nunu went to church today. I wonder if she's okay?" The netizen wrote. He also mentions that Eunwoo's presence attracts the attention of many other soldiers. In fact, an instructor reportedly had to remind them not to constantly stare at the idol. The instructor in their unit kept saying, "Don't look, she's a human," because people kept looking at Nunu. He continued in the story. The boyfriend also reports that he has just regained access to his cell phone, which suggests that the soldiers, including Eunwoo, may have started to enter a training phase that allows limited use of personal devices. Eunwoo officially started his military service on July 28, 2025 and immediately entered basic military training at the 15th Infantry Division Training Center. The existence of this idol born in 1997 in the military world has attracted a lot of attention because of his image as a top star with charming visuals and a clean reputation. While there's no official statement from the agency, stories from fellow soldiers like this one give a little insight into Eunwoo's life during his service: quiet, religious, and humble. This simple story instantly touched the hearts of many fans. Many were both touched and relieved to learn that Eunwoo continued his spiritual activities despite being in the midst of a strict military routine. The church became one of the places for the soldiers to calm down and seek inner strength, especially in the challenging early adaptation period. Netizens also gave various positive reactions. Some wrote, "It's nice to know she's still able to worship, and despite being in a new place, he keeps his good habits." Not a few also praised the attitude of the instructors who tried to keep the atmosphere professional even though there were celebrities in the unit. Eunwoo has been known as a religious person since before his debut. In several interviews, he once mentioned that going to church gave him peace of mind and became one of the routines he wanted to keep so far. The agency hasn't provided any updates on Eunwoo's activities during his mandatory military service. However, stories from his fellow countrymen provided a ray of news that warmed the hearts of fans who missed him. Eunwoo is expected to complete his mandatory military service in early 2027, and fans are eagerly awaiting the return of the actor and singer. Meanwhile, they continue to send prayers and support, wishing Eunwoo a healthy, safe, and humble life as they know it. Not only fans in Korea, international fans also shared this story to various platforms such as X, Twitter, Instagram, and global forums. Hashtags such as #Eunwoo, #YounWarenThermy, and #StayStrongEunwoo were trending locally in several Asian countries after the story went viral. In the midst of a busy entertainment world that continues to run, the Aroha, as ASTRO fans are called, choose to remain faithful to wait for their idol, while remembering the moments together before enlistment. Many have created support projects ranging from digital love letters, donations on behalf of Eunwoo to cross-country prayer groups. This story from a soldier's girlfriend may sound trivial, but for fans who are used to seeing Eunwoo as the perfect figure on the screen, this story is a reminder that Eunwoo, or Nunu as he is familiarly called, is still an ordinary human being. He still sought peace through worship, responded humbly to the spotlight, and served his country like any other citizen. The warmth of this story also shows the human side of celebrity life in the military, that behind the big name in the public spotlight, there is someone who still tries to keep his identity calmly, while waiting for official news from the agency or a possible letter or message from Eunwoo himself in the future. Fans can now only hope for one thing: for Eunwoo to live out his service healthy, strong, and happy. Now, after more than a week since Eunwoo officially enlisted in the military, little stories like this serve as a link between the idol and his fans out there. No Instagram posts, no broadcast schedule, but just one word from a fellow soldier, that Eunwoo is still his calm, polite, and religious self, to make thousands of hearts smile. For many fans, Eunwoo is not only an artist, but also a role model who proves that popularity doesn't have to change personal values. His decision to continue attending the service in a military setting showed unfeigned spiritual commitment, even as he was surrounded by admiring glances. While time will go on, and the entertainment world continues to spin, Cha Eunwoo's presence behind the military barracks will always be remembered not because of his celebrity status, but because he remains an ordinary human being who lives his day sincerely and humbly. And for those who miss her, one thing is certain: Eunwoo is never really far away. He is present in prayer, in memories, and in little stories that will live on until the day he returns with the same smile, but with a soul that may be stronger than ever. Meanwhile, many Aroha started making support projects during Cha Eunwoo's military service. In some fan communities, initiatives such as virtual letters to Eunwoo have emerged, in which fans write messages of support that will later be collected in digital scrapbooks. Some international fan bases even plan to donate to local charities or churches on Eunwoo's behalf, a form of support that reflects the idol's values. The story about his visit to the church also caused a feeling of calm among fans. In a military setting known to be harsh and stressful, knowing that Eunwoo is still seeking strength through worship is a reminder that everyone, no matter how famous they are, still needs space to take shelter inwardly. He remains the Eunwoo we know, gentle, focused, and leaning on simple things to stay strong. One fan from the Philippines wrote on a global fan forum, "Until it's time for Cha Eunwoo to return to the screen, the stage, or the big screen, fans choose to keep their faith that the star is growing in silence, going through the process steadfastly, and will return to shine brighter than ever. Time will go on, and as long as it does, fans will continue to wait, not with anxiety but with pride. Because waiting for someone like Cha Eunwoo is not a wasted wait, but a form of love that is calm, sincere, and full of confidence," he once said in one of his old interviews. "If one day I have to take a break from the entertainment world, I want people to know that I'm not leaving. I'm just learning to be a better version of myself." Now that sentence feels real. Eunwoo is not lost. He was merely stepping aside for a moment from the glittering stage to carry out his responsibilities as a citizen. And as an ordinary human being, the stories about his visits to the church in the midst of the training rush, about the soldiers looking at him in awe, and about the instructor reminding him that he was also a man, are small but meaningful images of the great journey he was on. And perhaps, in the thick of the exercises and the heavy steps on the military ground, there was a moment of silence in which he sat in the pews, closed his eyes, and prayed, not only for himself, but also for those who had secretly always prayed for him. And beyond the fence of the military barracks, a world that used to be filled with concert schedules, photo shoots, and camera calls is now replaced by silence that is actually full of meaning. No fan shouts, no spotlights, just the sound of marching boots, and the occasional whisper of a quiet prayer from the heart of a young man named Cha Eunwoo. Maybe now he wakes up earlier than usual, wears a uniform he never imagined when he first debuted, and sleeps with a tired body but a calm heart. But deep down, she's still the same Eunwoo. Someone who chooses to go to church on Sundays, not because of who he sees, but because of who he believes. And in the meantime, the fans keep writing. They write messages that will not reach his hands for a while, directed to the sky, to the forums, to a constantly moving timeline. But they know that true love doesn't always have to be reciprocated now. Sometimes it just needs to be taken care of until the right time.